When climate destroyed great empire. Hello and welcome to this channel. You can also support us by following us on social media. The weather was getting hotter every year. The water level in the ocean keeps rising. A Category 5 hurricane hit the city. The dams built over the river are no longer able to contain the water, and so they burst. These are not some scary future predictions, but rather events that happened in the past, evidence of how climate change has affected our planet in the past. In today's video, we will take you through the timeline of one such catastrophic event that destroyed an empire. We hope you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. 753 BC, the legend of Rome is said to have begun. Romulus, the mythical founder of Rome, is said to have killed his twin brother Remus after the two of them tried to establish a settlement near the Tiber River. Over the next several centuries, Rome grew from a small village to a sizable city. By 509 BC, Rome had become a republic ruled by an elite class of landowning Romans. The Roman Republic would go on to conquer much of the Mediterranean, clashing with many powerful civilizations along the way. However, throughout this period, Rome's climate was mostly stable and favorable for agriculture. This allowed Rome to grow in power and wealth. But everything would change during the 1st century BC. Starting around 100 BC, the Mediterranean experienced a period of extremely wet weather. It was so bad that it even earned the nickname the Age of Storms. During this time, heavy rainfall caused widespread flooding across the region. This led to the loss of life, damage to property, and disruption to trade. In addition to the floods, there were also prolonged periods of drought which devastated crops and caused widespread famine. The storms also caused coastal erosion, which led to the destruction of homes and businesses along the coast. The people of Rome struggled to cope with the extreme weather and the damage that it caused. They tried various methods to control the flooding and drought, such as building dams and aqueducts, but these efforts were largely unsuccessful. As a result, the people of Rome became increasingly desperate, and the government was unable to provide adequate relief. The extreme weather continued for several decades, and eventually led to the decline of the Roman Republic. However, the effects of climate change did not stop there. The changing climate also led to the emergence of new diseases and the spread of existing ones. For example, the warmer temperatures allowed for the spread of malaria and other mosquito-borne diseases, which killed millions of people across the empire. The flooding also created conditions that were favorable for the spread of waterborne diseases, such as cholera and typhoid fever. These diseases were particularly deadly in cities such as Rome, where sanitation was inadequate. The combination of extreme weather, disease, and economic hardship led to widespread instability across the empire. The people of Rome became increasingly disillusioned with the government and the ruling class, and this contributed to the fall of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. As the Roman Empire began to take shape, the people of Rome were determined to create a better future for themselves. They built new roads, aqueducts, and public buildings, and they expanded the empire's borders. However, the good times did not last. Around the year 160 AD, the Roman Empire experienced another period of extreme weather. Once again, heavy rainfall caused widespread flooding, while prolonged droughts devastated crops and caused widespread famine. The flooding also caused coastal erosion, which led to the destruction of homes and businesses along the coast. The people of Rome struggled to cope with the extreme weather and the damage that it caused. They tried various methods to control the flooding and drought, such as building dams and aqueducts, but these efforts were largely unsuccessful. However, this time Rome was better prepared. Unlike during the Roman Republic, Rome had developed more sophisticated systems of infrastructure. They had built larger and more sophisticated dams and aqueducts to control the flooding and drought, but these were still not enough to withstand the extreme weather. The flooding was so severe that the Tiber River overflowed its banks and flooded the city. The aqueducts were damaged and the water supply to the city was cut off. The food supply quickly dwindled and the people of Rome faced starvation. The floods also caused widespread damage to the city's infrastructure, including its roads, bridges, and public buildings. People were forced to flee their homes, and many died from the cold or disease. The Roman Empire was in chaos, and the people were desperate for a solution. Emperor Antoninus, the ruler of Rome at the time, tried everything he could to save his people. He distributed food and money to the poor, ordered the construction of new housing, and established a system of public baths to help keep people warm. However, these measures were not enough to save Rome. The flooding continued for years, and the damage to the infrastructure was too great to be repaired quickly. Eventually, the emperor was forced to abandon the city and flee to safer territory. By 180 AD, the Roman Empire was in sharp decline. The flooding had caused widespread devastation and the empire was struggling to recover. The economy was in sharp decline, the food supply was dwindling, and the people were becoming increasingly desperate. The flooding had also weakened the Roman Empire militarily, making it vulnerable to attack. In 193 AD, the empire was invaded by the Germanic tribes and Rome was sacked. The invaders looted the city and took many prisoners, including the emperor's family. The Roman Empire was never the same again. The flooding had taken a heavy toll on its infrastructure, economy, and military, and it would never fully recover. It is important to understand that the flooding was not the only factor that contributed to the fall of the Roman Empire. Other factors such as political corruption, economic inequality, and the spread of Christianity also played a role. However, the flooding was a major contributing factor, and it is likely that it would not have been able to withstand the other challenges without being weakened by the extreme weather. The flooding in the Roman Empire was a catastrophic event that had a profound impact on the course of history. It caused widespread devastation, contributed to the fall of the Roman Empire, and helped shape the world we live in today. By understanding the causes and consequences of this event, we can better understand the challenges of managing water resources and the importance of investing in sustainable infrastructure. Did you know that climate change has already begun to affect our planet? And if we don't take action now, it will only get worse. That is why we are so committed to making this channel a valuable resource for those who want to learn more about climate change and what they can do to make a difference. Our team of experts creates engaging and informative videos that explore the science behind climate change, the impact it is having on our planet, and the innovative solutions that are being developed to address it. Whether you're a student, a teacher, a journalist, or just someone who's curious about climate change, we have something for you. So be sure to stay tuned for new videos every week. Together, we can make a difference. And thank you for watching. Now let's move on to the next segment, the Little Ice Age. During the Middle Ages, Europe experienced a period of cooler temperatures known as the Little Ice Age. This period lasted from the 14th to the 19th century and had a significant impact on the climate and weather patterns of the continent. The Little Ice Age was marked by a decrease in average temperatures, which led to colder summers and harsher winters. This resulted in a more difficult growing season for farmers and a higher incidence of crop failures and food shortages. The colder temperatures also led to an increase in the frequency and severity of frost fairs, which were celebrations held in Northern Europe when the rivers and canals froze over. One of the most notable effects of the Little Ice Age was the expansion of glaciers in the Arctic and other parts of the world. This led to rising sea levels, which in turn caused coastal flooding and erosion. The colder temperatures also led to changes in precipitation patterns, resulting in more rain in some areas and more snow in others. This had an impact on water availability and led to both floods and droughts in different parts of Europe. The Little Ice Age had a significant impact on human societies. For example, the colder temperatures and food shortages led to increased poverty and famine in some areas. It also led to mass migrations of people as they sought better living conditions. The changing climate also had an impact on agriculture and led to the adoption of new farming techniques and crops. It also affected trade and transportation as the colder temperatures made it more difficult to transport goods. Despite the challenges posed by the Little Ice Age, human societies adapted and found ways to thrive. For example, some communities developed new technologies and innovations to help them cope with the colder temperatures and food shortages. Others developed new cultural practices and beliefs to help them cope with the challenges of the time. Overall, the Little Ice Age was a significant period in European history that had a profound impact on the continent's climate, weather patterns, and human societies. The colder temperatures, food shortages, and other challenges of the era led to significant changes in agriculture, trade, migration, and culture. Understanding the Little Ice Age and its impact on Europe can help us better understand the continent's history and the challenges and adaptations of past societies. We hope you enjoyed learning about the climate that destroyed great empires. Please like and share this video if you found it interesting and want to learn more about similar topics. Stay tuned for more content, and thanks for watching.